Okay, just a few minutes I guess I'll talk about on the carpet for the car. And I got the carpet from, let's see here, Auto Custom Carpets. This is the box it came in. It was all squished in there, folded up. I had it in for, like I said, 10 years. When I took it out, it did take a couple of days for it to kind of get back into its form, because it's supposed to be like pre-molded. You just give them your car model number, and they must have a bunch of, I don't know, floor pans or whatever that they can mold the carpet to. So I let it rest out of the box for a few days, and lo and behold, the shape was coming back, its original shape. So when I put it in the car, it wasn't too bad. I thought I'd have to use a lot of cement or whatever, but I was able to form it through. It worked out pretty good. So the carpet that I got, I paid extra for this extra, what they call mass backing. It's a thicker backing on the carpet. And compared to the piece, I got an extra piece so I could do my door panels, just a regular piece, door panels and kick panels. I don't know if the camera will show it, but there is a big difference in the thickness of the backing compared to the regular carpet. And even the nap of the carpet seems more plush, deeper to me. Like I said, there was an upcharge for it, but I think it's worth it. If you're going to put new carpet in, get that extra backing. I'm sure it's going to help in sound, and it just feels pretty nice when it's in the car. Okay, here's a little bit of the new carpet that I've installed inside the car. You know, when you start out, especially on the front piece of the carpet, if it's a two-piece carpet, make sure you get that heel pad protector. Make sure you get that straight on. If you don't get that straight on, it's going to look really look kind of funny when you get all done with the carpet. So take some extra time. Make sure you get that straight. Of course, this is a two-piece pre-molded carpet. I've taken the excess carpet off the side here so I can get the sill plates on. And I also had some excess carpet in the front, up by the firewall. Oh, one other thing I want to point out is identifying the holes in the carpet. Once you get the carpet over your floor, you say, well, how am I going to, do I push in, try to find where the hole is going to be so I can put a hole in the carpet? Most of the holes that I was able to identify, I could identify from below the floor pan. Underneath the car, I could poke up a very thin, pointy object right through the carpet to help me identify where the holes are going to be. And I'll show you what I did to put the hole in the carpet without screwing up the carpet itself. Okay guys, let's say you've got your carpet, you found a spot that you want to put a hole in, whether it's for your seat belt, seat tracks, or whatever, and you got kind of a big bolt. You want to leave yourself enough hole room that you're not going to catch anything when you start screwing that screw in. Most times, if you've got jute padding or anything, you've got to make enough clearance that when you screw that screw in, it doesn't catch the jute. Because if there ever comes a time when you got to back that screw out, it'll catch the jute or even the carpet, and you'll have a dickens of a time, if not destroying part of your carpet, just getting that bolt out. Okay, so make the hole bigger than what you really need to give yourself a little bit of cushion. And then put the drill in reverse. If you have it in the forward position, you could catch that carpet and you could have a big mess just doing that. So put it in reverse, exert a little bit of pressure, and you should have a nice clean hole without catching the carpet itself and pulling it. And that'll give you plenty of room to get your bigger bolts through. Okay, I got a little scrap piece of carpet here I was going to toss out, but what I wanted to show you is if you need to have your carpet bound with some binding material. Let's say you're working on your kick panels or your door panels need freshening with carpet. You've got your carpet cut, but now you say, well, how am I going to bind it? I got to take it to an upholsterer, wait for that, and the expense of the upholsterer. Go over to a fabric store, Michael's or Joann's or something like that, and I think they have this binding material. It's about 1.25 inches wide. I think that's a standard width. Cut off what you need where you're going to bind, okay, and then flip it over. Place it on the edge of your carpet like this. Make sure that you're on the edge, but you're also got backing behind it. Take your stapler and then make sure everything's lined up. You're on the edge of the carpet, you're in enough binding, and then start your stapling. Start the edge. Just check on the back side, make sure you're going through the backing, and then come down the line, stapling all the way, one after the other. Keep your staples as straight as you can. The straighter you get them, the nicer your binding's going to be. Check periodically, make sure you're going through the backing, and just continue to staple down the line. Let me put a couple more back here. And I'm going as fast as I can because I know these videos are boring. And really, when you go to do this, make sure you take your time. The more time you take, the better it's going to look. After you get the staples in, then fold the binding over, and you're going to want to glue it. Fold it over the edge, and then you're probably going to want to use some clamps to hold it in place. Pull it tight over the edge. Clamp it. And if you flip it over, you'll see, let me get this in the camera here. You'll see this binding edge right here, and it looks pretty darn nice. You're not going to see any sew seams or anything like that because it's not sewn on. And it makes a pretty clean bound edge for your carpet. Some guys may think it's, a hack job, but for me, it's good enough and it looks pretty decent. So just make sure you use some sort of a fabric glue or whatever you might have to glue the back side and clamp it down overnight so the glue settles. Here's the original kick panel carpet that I pulled off of my kick panels. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's all sewn here, sewn down here, and they just wrap the edge back over here. And this is my kick panel now. I got to touch up the paint, but I think the binding, the edging came out pretty nice. It's definitely, let me get this in. It's definitely good enough for me. And I saved a lot of time and probably a lot of money. Okay, I'm going to show one of my door panels next. Okay, on the door panels, I had to use an electric stapler. And I'll tell you why. Because I was placing the carpet over my backing panel of the door panel. And it was too thick for just a regular stapler to work to fasten the binding down to the carpet and to the backing cardboard of the panel. So I used an electric stapler, as I'm doing here now, lining it up, get as close as I can to get it straight, and just using the staples to come down the straight line as straight as you can for the binding. So, there's one other tip that I want to mention. The binding, like I said before, is about 1.25 inches wide. You might need a wider binding to get around a door panel. It just may not be enough to make your staple, fold it over, and get around the edge of your backing for your door panel and glue and fasten it in place. So what I did is I had some vinyl, extra vinyl piece. The vinyl is pretty cheap. You can get a big piece for like $7-8. And I've had this, and what I did was cut a strip, maybe 2.5-3 inches wide, and I used this behind the binding itself, the binding material itself. So I had enough to fold over the edge and fasten glue on the back side of the cardboard. So depending on your application, you may need, if you can find it, and maybe they make it a bigger, wider binding fabric, and that would be ideal, that you would have enough fabric to get around the whole edge of the carpet and the backing of your door panel. Alright, so I just thought I'd give you a quick shot of the back of the door panel. This is where I pulled the vinyl tight over the edge, and then I put some fabric spray down just underneath the final edge of this, and then just held it down with duct tape. Around the corners, I added a couple of staples in just to hold it in place. It aids, you know, when it's in setting up and drying. So here's my door panel with the carpet on the bottom of the panel, and this is it completed with the binding that I did. It came out pretty good, and it's acceptable to me.